This film offers a look into the aims and goals of the RAF FA Veterans Club, what it hopes to achieve and promote through the lens of football, and how they embrace the culture of football for all. KLTV was given full access to attend the club's games throughout 2022 in order to dive deep and explore the history of the RAF Veterans, what brought them together, the camaraderie and togetherness within the group, and the future of the group itself. As you will see throughout the documentary, we spoke to over 15 current and former members of the RAF in order to gain a deeper understanding of the complexities of armed forces football and why it is so important to the health and well-being of those who have served. Our journey starts in Burton-upon-Trent at St George's Park, the home of England's national football teams, and where the Royal Air Force over 35s take on the Royal Navy over 35s.
Well, today we're at St George's Park, which is home of the English Football Association, and actually we're very fortunate because as the RAF Veterans football team, this is our home ground as well.
I brought a lot of these players who are here today through, gave them their chances at 21, and then in the RAF team, and now they're 50 plus. And which is showing my age, and they're doing fantastic. I can only say that the vets have come on leaps and bounds, and the organisation of the vets is brilliant. They do a lot for the Air Force, brilliant.
As sort of associated duty, I've been involved in RAF football now for the best part of 30 years. And one of the things that we're really keen to do is to try and use sport like the vets football to remain in contact with those who've served in the past and keep sort of the spirit alive with the serving generation of today.
This is about veterans, as in service veterans, the family of ex-servicemen working with or playing football with current servicemen, and acting as a bridge really.
I joined the Air Force in '87, and so from flash to bang was '87 till 2015. So it was a 28-year journey. For probably 100% of it, I was involved in the RAF football, just meeting lifelong friends from then onwards really. And then as you'll know too well, how you commit to them and you commit to the cause of playing, you travel miles. In those days you go on 1 or 2 tours a year, so you travel far and wide with them.
Hi, I'm Dave Peel. I was in the Air Force from 1963 to 1999, 36 years. Yeah, I was involved with managing teams in Germany. The RAF team, I was involved as a trainer and managed teams, the Strike Command team as it was in those days, Support Command team.
Well, I did my square bashing at Swindeby, as everybody does. Then I went to RAF Catterick to do my basic trade, which was an RAF regiment gunner. And my first posting was to RAF Larbruck in Germany. Then I was posted 1983, late 83, back to RAF Lavington, which I saw out my time. The best way I could describe my time in the RAF, I'm splitting right down the middle. It was an amazing experience and very challenging experience all at the same time.
Having served for 25 years in the RAF and actually been involved with the RAF senior representative team for 24 years of that time as a player, and then I got injured, so I then took on the physiotherapy duties, obviously being an RI, and then assistant coach, and then head coach, and then representative team manager. So, you know, the RAF FA means a huge amount to me.
The Royal Air Force has a long and storied history with the game of football. The RAF Football Association was formed in 1920 and is a county-level organisation affiliated within the Football Association. Teams regularly play against other armed forces teams, both in the UK and overseas, and often host tournaments and other competitions. Many players who have served in the armed forces have gone on to play or coach amateur, semi-pro and even professional level football, such as well-known pundit Chris Kamara, himself a former Royal Naval Mariner.
Well, it started 15 or 16 years ago actually, and it was before, obviously before I got involved, and it started off as by Tony Dunn as just a way of getting ex-RAF FA representative players together, sort of relive some of the the social times from the days gone past. It wasn't about the football in them days, it was more about the social side and getting people back together again. Since then it's grown and grown, and now it's become more about the football side again. However, we do all socialise as is normal with military personnel and ex-military personnel, and it's great to rekindle friendships from the past.
I took over from a senior officer, and so I know a lot of the guys here from when I played, and so they just invited me along to do this as president. So I'm very privileged to be able to do that.
I played right the way through from station through to combined services level. I managed to travel around the world playing football, which I thought was fantastic. But it's the people you meet, not just in football, when you go into different countries, different cultures. It was a great opportunity, fantastic opportunity.
I left the Air Force in 2015 and went into a number of civilian jobs based around my sort of last time at Headley Court and rehabilitation and so forth. And it was only when Matt Beattie, who is a friend of ours from Innsworth days as well, said they were short of a keeper one year at a tournament down in Cardiff, and I turned up to play there and suddenly realised how much A, I liked playing football, B, that I could actually still play it to a certain point, and it was at that point that I started to see an interest in what the Vets family and what the Vets football was trying to achieve.
About 2 years ago, I was looking on Facebook and I saw a little patch saying about the RAF Vets. So I scrolled through the names and I saw the name of one of the old guys I knew from 81 called David Selkeld, and I looked into it further and saw some other geezers like Jeff Hancock, who was mates with my mate Tony Brown, and I thought I'll contact them guys and see if I can get involved, and that's why I'm here now.
I think at the time it was like just 1 or 2 games a year, which was just against the other services if they could get a team together, and that's kind of how it kind of started. But Tony done a great job. He'd taken over from Mali, emulating what was there, which was 1 or 2 games a year with lads that were currently serving. But I'd had a long, hard think about what we'd like to get out of the Vets. And really it was Charlie Booker who I had a really good chat with about what we could do with it and where we could take it. And it was the sort of the what and the how. And then we just evolved from there. We had 3 sort of main objectives, or I set myself 3 main objectives at the time. And we basically evolved from 11 players and 2 subs and maybe 1 or 2 helping on a day to probably what you'd seen at St George's Park sort of 7 or 8 years down the line.
I'd like to call upon our ambassador, Jeff Hancock, to make a special presentation, please.
Thank you. Donny, as one of the original founders of the Veterans, it gives me a great pleasure to give you this, present you with this particular Veterans cap.
Thanks very much, Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you very much.
Within the Royal Air Force particularly, the RAF FA provides structured opportunities to participate in football for all serving personnel and associated civilians irrespective of age, colour and gender. One such arm of the RAF FA focuses on those over 35 years of age who continue to serve or have retired from active duty. The Royal Air Force Football Association Veterans Football Club was founded in the mid-1990s with the mission to provide greater playing opportunities and engagement to those personnel over the age of 35 who are currently serving or who have previously served in the Royal Air Force.
Okay, my name is John Jones. I joined the RAF in 1962 as a 15-year-old, left in 1996 as a 50-year-old. I played football, not at the highest level, but reasonable level until 1976. My vision started going, and then I went into management, initially with the RAF Abingdon second team, and then I went on to manage the 3 command sides, RAF Germany, RAF Strike Command and RAF Support Command. I managed all the station sides, the group teams, the interleague representative teams, and I came out in 96, and I was still playing intersection football at Rhine-Darlen in my 50th year.
Well, I joined the Vets in 2017. I got the call from Matt Beattie. He chased me down. As I say, I joined in 2017, still playing, played a few games, 1 or 2 seasons with the under 35s as it is. And then as my age obviously got got the better. I've now moved on now to the under 50s, over 50s, sorry. And I've also skipped the over 50s a couple of times in the football there.
I got a lot out of the forces, really. Taught me a lot of things. On the sports side, I was with Swindon before I joined up as an apprentice professional. I come into the Air Force, started off on the youth team, RAF youth team, moved on to the Combined Services youth. Through that I got picked up, obviously through station, group, command, and eventually playing for the Air Force. I played quite a few times for the Combined Services, the Armed Forces, all over the world really, in my time.
The amazing experience came from playing football. I played football for Strike Command when I was in the UK, RAF, Germany, Royal Air Force and the Combined Services. To play football and travel and see various parts of Germany and also the UK, it was just an amazing experience.
And you can be away from them not see them for years on end, and then you get back together like we have today, and you meet up with people as though it was yesterday. And it's always good fun.
The best thing about the vets is meeting up with all my old mates. Well, I haven't seen them for 35 years, but it's just like yesterday. It's good to see how they've got on, how they've progressed, how some of them had a long career in the Air Force. Myself, I had a very short career, but it is just absolutely wonderful to see them all again. And it's just like I say, it's just like yesterday.
Through an extended family, the club's ultimate aims and goals are to encourage and maintain physical fitness, promote social interaction and mental well-being, and create a great team spirit and excellent camaraderie and togetherness within the group. At least 4 or 5 games are organised per year, and are focused on the over 35s and over 50s, though we still actually have players aged over 70. Games are played up and down the country against a wide range of opposition, including national teams such as England and Wales. The club's built on a foundation of community and collective action. Much of the administration is voluntary, and it is through their commitment to the club and to each other that the teams are able to play and thrive.
Well, when I was in Germany, you played on a Saturday, you have wives and families and kids come to watch you. And when Germany was no longer there, I was fortunate enough to meet this lovely lady called Yvonne who came to the games, and she encouraged other people. And what we got is more and more ladies start to come to the game with their kids. We've had games where we've had kids and we've gone kicking balls with them.
Unfortunately, I wasn't in the forces, but I wish I had been. I mean, I'm 64, so in my day, you didn't get the opportunities that you get nowadays. But I love planes, and going by Dave's experiences of the RAF, I really do wish I'd had the opportunity to join.
Yeah, I think personally, it's rekindled some great friendships that we've had when we're all together and we were playing. Whether it be in groups, commands, RAF, inter-services or anything else like that. It's brought everybody back together, and I think that's vitally important, especially given, when we talk about what we've just gone through, with the pandemic as well. But even before that, we were bringing people together who had become somewhat lost and isolated.
For many, game days not only represent a chance to compete, but also an opportunity to connect with former squad mates, friends and family. The day's events often include meeting up to share a drink or sitting down and having a meal together. Today is a particularly special occasion as the group has gathered in George's Park's impressive Hilton Hotel for a special commemoration and awards ceremony.
On behalf of the RAF Veterans football team, I'd like to thank our VIP guests, our sponsors, the match officials, and of course not forgetting the Royal Navy team today. So welcome here to St George's Park. So thank you very much everybody for coming today.
So from the Royal Air Force FA Vets, on behalf of the Royal Air Force FA, we would like you to be presented with the Outstanding Achievement Award today. John Johnson. And I'd like to add, you are lot likely to meet a nicer gentleman than what Sir Mark Edwards. If you'd like to come to the floor and receive.
Whilst the RAF helps support the Veterans Group along with various sponsors, the group is ultimately run and organised at a voluntary level. Once the games and venues have been decided by the Fixtures Committee, the teams are often organised through the association's lively Facebook group, and sometimes not everyone can make it. Everyone pitches in where they can, whether that's booking the accommodation or sorting out which pub everyone will meet at after the game. When speaking with the veterans, it becomes increasingly clear that the opportunities provided speak to more than just playing football. In their own words, they describe what they gain from being part of the group.
So what I thought I was getting out of it was the ability to bring old and bold back together, to open-ended, so there was no closed door. Everybody, we never turned anybody away. Everybody that wanted to come wanted to contribute in some way, whether it be selling raffle tickets, whether it be helping out on the day, blowing some footballs up. And in return, I think I just felt as though myself and others could provide a venue such as St George's Park that ordinarily we wouldn't have been able to use.
But the best thing I took away from the RAF was about self-discipline, motivation, aspiration, determination. You know, we can use these words very easily, but I know my RAF experience didn't really kick in until I was back on Civvy Street. And that's when I realised I'd gone through something that I would cherish for the rest of my life.
The RAF Vets, is absolute medicine for everybody involved. It keeps people involved after they've left the service, which is very important for some. It allows those who still want to play.
It's an opportunity for me to get back together with like-minded people who have shared many of the experiences that I've shared, often on the same pitch, either with or against. And it's just a nice way to give something back as well to the RAF FA as well, because, you know, I've enjoyed overseas tours. You know, I think I played and coached in over 30 countries while I was serving. So it's an opportunity for me to give something back as well. And obviously being manager of the over 50s now, my playing days are probably slightly behind me, perhaps. And it's a great opportunity, to get the guys together and try and form us into a team and try and get performances. Every day is a learning day. We're learning from each other. Everybody brings something different to the party. As you say, being mentally strong is a big asset, and also, as I say, having a laugh and joke when things go wrong, etc. Yes, things will go wrong. It's how you, as an individual and a team, overcome that to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, I think there's a massive void, I think, is where we're looking at. From being full-time in the services, as you say, from coming out to being a civilian and then coming back into the vets, it's just that massive void that, hence what I said when I started, I should have got involved a lot sooner for one reason or another. And it just makes you feel wanted. That's one of the biggest words I can use. It just makes you feel wanted.
From this place here, St George's Park, just look around, it's fantastic. Fantastic facilities, England's training camp. You've got some good ex-physiotherapists on the crew and great football players, and it's just a great feeling being here.
In the world of veterans football, teams have formed up and down the country in many different leagues of all shapes and sizes. This gives the RAF teams a unique opportunity to face competition that plays on a regular basis. For this match, the RAF boys are up against Vauxhall Motors FC, who play in the Cheshire FA Veterans League. Vauxhall plays to a competitively high standard and they're a good challenge for the team.
There's a connection there now, and we're being taken seriously, and hence why we've now got this inter-service games at veterans level. And they look after us and we actually get funded.
I think you've seen that today, actually, with 39 people turning up to play. I think that says a lot about the camaraderie and bringing people together. And I'm sure it's helping a lot of people here through a lot of stressful situations they've had in their life in the last 20 or 30 years. And this is like a nice get together like this, relive old times. It's got to help them mentally, it's got to.
Yeah, I think the health and well-being. Well, firstly, it keeps you fit to a certain the older end generation, if you will, on that side of it. But also the social gathering. The social gathering really does. If you're quite an isolated person, I've been at times. It extends that family, and I think, and you speak to someone about certain instances you had through your life, good or bad, probably more so bad. It's surprising when you start speaking to other people within the vets, they probably had that feeling as well.
Just being around them, listening to the banter, the discussions, reminiscing past and talking about the present, and even considering what the future is going to look like, both as a footballer or in our own day-to-day lives, has been just wonderful.
While it's good practice to keep one foot firmly planted in the present, it's also important to look to the future. As a voluntary organisation, the RAF FA recognises that personnel will change over time and new people will need to step up to lead the organisation of the future.
I look forward to coming to the matches once a month and all that with the vets and all that, just to see, watch the good football from the over 35s, which is going on today. And also when the over 50s are playing, obviously playing with the over 50s and still doing that.
From a point of view of the vets, the organisation and the professionalism is still there, notwithstanding the age, notwithstanding the various levels of performance. We still approach it in a professional manner, organised. We're very fortunate to play in such tremendous surroundings as St George's Park.
You have to think of so many ex-forces, men come out and they have these mental breakdowns because they don't have that support network around them, and this is brilliant for the ex-forces. Definitely,
it's good at getting them back together again, isn't
gets
it?
them back together, reminiscing and supporting each other through the rest of their lives.
It is like a big family, and it still is like a big family, and I don't think they quite get that today, whereas in their generation it was just like a big family, wasn't it?
Definitely.
I think it's so important now. People get to a certain age where they think, I can't do sport anymore, and it's so important that as we get older, I'm 65 now, that we keep moving. And it's not only that, it's a social side as well. That's very important, keeping ourselves fit physically, but also keeping ourselves fit mentally.
I think at the end of the day, it's an ingrained thing. I think once you're in the forces or anything, you're built around the fact of teamwork is one thing that's built into you. Discipline's another thing that is built into you. And once you've got those two elements, then it's easy to stay together right the way through.
The football was what the vehicle was to bring people together, but it was the additional elements that brought the family together. So yes, it was a vehicle why we came to play football, but the social aspect, the mental health aspect, the camaraderie that it brought, it was the why that I would call the why that we never really planned. It's just evolved and happened, and that's pure fluke, by the way.
I hope in the next 10 years the RAF Veterans will be as strong as it is now, if not even stronger. I think it's really important that we show that diversity in the RAF, perhaps not back then, but certainly now.
I feel the importance of over the vets is that it's just to get and see people that you haven't seen for quite a while. It's quite reassuring that I come here. I haven't seen these people for a long time, but they're doing well, they're healthy, and it's quite a nice feeling to know.
I think that's one of the key factors that grabs everybody is that we have this camaraderie, the banter. It goes back historically to when we all used to play together. And I also think that even for players that, or for people that come now that can't play, is the fact that just being amongst your peers and everybody else like that, it's great fun.
It's like opened up a new world to me. I left the RAF 35 years ago, and all of a sudden I'm finding old friends and new friends and good old family, and it's fantastic.
Some people leave the service, they can become isolated, and this is a great way of bringing everybody together, and they just have fun. And the other thing is this sort of service humour. They miss that when they leave the service, and it's just very, very important they're able to come back and do that.
In the beginning, the RAF FA Veterans Football Club was created to provide an opportunity for those who have served to continue to play football in a friendly yet competitive environment. Over the years, the group has evolved immensely, bringing in new players, committee members, organisers, sponsors and many more, all with the aim of raising the profile of RAF Veterans football both on and off the field.
Yeah, and I think football, you know, it's the major participation sport still in the services, and I think sport's got a huge role to play in trying to retain connections with those that have served. You know, I went to watch our under-23s play last month, and it's fabulous to watch, you know, everything from cadet football through to the under-23s, watching the senior men last night beat the Navy 2-0, and then, you know, watching the vets today play. And from a personal point of view, you know, there's folk out there that I played under-21s with 30 years ago. It's nice to catch up with old friends.
What do I get out of it? Well, I love it. You know, I love the banter. I like the camaraderie. You know, it's a commitment that, you know, I've decided to make, and as all the other players and management do as well. And I think what people tend to forget is we're all volunteers. All of the, you know, the support structure that goes on in the background for the vets is done volunteers. There's no, you know, there's nobody paid to do this or anything else. We want to do it.
I'd like to see the RAF Veterans grow in strength, keep the membership going there, and hopefully get a team plus 70s, which is approaching in 10 years' time for me.
I'm seeing the next generation of ex-senior representative team players. They're coming through now. Once they get to the age of 35, they come and play for us. I'm seeing them. I'm enjoying it. The fact that I'm putting on an RAF badge, that means the world to me. I was ex-RAF, and I just absolutely loved my time in the services. If it hadn't damaged my knee playing football, I'd hopefully still be in.
I would like to see the vets in another 5 years, 10 years time doing what they've done this year, succeeding in winning inter-services. They've now developed the link between the actual SRT players who are coming to the end of their careers playing for the Air Force, and in unlike the days when we came to the end of our Air Force careers, there was nothing to go into. With the vets which has been developed, that is now the link for them, where they don't have to stop playing. They can finish playing with the Air Force, and they can then transfer across to the vets and continue playing at good level, with good teams as well, and good players around them.
The teams have had the opportunity to play in some amazing venues against some of the best, most competitive teams in veterans football. Importantly, it has been given many the opportunity to reflect upon their time in the service, to reconnect and share experiences with their fellows, and remember those in their family who have since passed. Ultimately, the RAF FA is a family, not just for the players, but for their partners, wives, children, grandchildren, friends and many more as well.